Welcome to DABCC Radio,
where smart people listen.
Virtualization and Cloud Talk,
Featuring cutting-edge solutions from the hottest companies around the globe.
broadcasting from the DABCC offices in sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Surrounded by computers, books, and Legos.
A Microsoft MVP, Citrix Charter CTP, VMware vExpert.
And your host, Douglas Brown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC Radio. We have Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs back on the show with us today, and Jason's one of my favorite people, and always a pleasure to have him on the show to fill us full of what's new at good old Liquidware. And Jason's an all-around great guy, just stand-up great guy. So really smart. And today we're going to talk about UEM, ProfileUnity. Everything that's new, maybe a little sneak peek on Synergy if I can, what they're going to announce or show, if I can get that out of them too. Let's see if I can do that. So that's my goal. Okay, so no further ado, here's my interview with Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs. Okay, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I'm looking forward to this conversation. We have you on quite often, actually, to update us on what's new with whatever you're doing, and you've been doing Liquidware for a long time now. So today we want to talk about layering and UEM and just a bunch of cool stuff. So, Jason, well, let's get to it, right? I'm getting way ahead of myself, I guess. But let's get to this. So, as always, my first question, who are you and what do you do over at Liquidware?
Thanks, Doug. Jason E. Smith, Vice President of Product Marketing with Liquidware Labs. And in that regard, arming up our sales channel and also our own force to go out there and help solve problems in the world with our desktop transformation suite, which is called Liquidware Labs Essentials. It has ProfileUnity in it, which is full user environment management, application layering, which can be purchased as part of that, called FlexApp, and then also Stratosphere, which is user experience. It's monitoring software to tell you how quality the user experience is so you can grow and scale deployments of VDI or even make your physical desktop environment better.
Well, great. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. Let's get to the meat of it. A lot of us know about Liquidware. We've heard about this thing called ProfileUnity, which has been around for a long time. And FlexApp, you've talked with us a few times, but you guys are really gaining some speed in the UEM layering market. It's really picking up. So that being said, let's dive into this. Again, a lot of guys out there in the market nowadays are starting to pitch really layering and UEM together. And in the past, it's sort of been two different things. In fact, when I think of layering, I think of application deployment, application management, what have you. I don't necessarily think of UEM, right? So, but you guys have had that approach for quite some time. Is this the right approach? Why is it the right approach? And can you talk a bit about the thought process into what went into building these two solutions that sort of are almost one?
Well, if you look back when we really envisioned what application layering should be, we saw solutions out there like Microsoft's AppV and application virtualization reaching really their technical limits on what they could do, and that a new approach was needed, maybe to complement Microsoft AppV, and so we developed the IP in-house to the intellect to be able to deliver layering, and we thought long and hard about it. Should it be a standalone product or should it be part of our ProfileUnity solution? The more we looked at it, there were so many things within the user environment management that you could use at the same time that you're managing layers for users, that it just made so much sense to put it in one central management console and have it available that way, because you can then use as much or as little as you wish of the solution, and it's easy. It's one place to go. So, and then we're really after making things easiest to use. A lot of the things you can do with our user environment management solution, you might be able to cobble together other solutions to do it, group policy preferences or logon scripts and et cetera, but we've always been about keeping it simple. One management console, to simplify the daily life of a desktop administrator.
Interesting. So you mentioned, these things, features, functions, benefits, what have you, that just go together and make sense for UEM and layering. Can you give us some examples of those type of, that type of behavior?
Yeah. So it becomes really ideal. And by the way, I should mention that FlexApp can also be licensed independently of ProfileUnity. So you can mix and match, and you may already have a solution in place that does one or the other, and that's fine. We have joint customers out in the market today too. Some of the reasons why application layering, though, to go more after your question, why application layering and UEM makes sense to be used together is that if you look at the way you deliver applications, it has a lot to do with the user environment, the user environment itself. And let me first really define user environment. We see that as the user's profile, their policies, and also access to user authored data too. If you think about those three buckets, they're all needed in application layering. So you need the user profile to be robust, separate and aside from the application being delivered to the desktop. You need to have the user profile app data settings be retained within the session. You may need to manage them uniquely too. For policies, that second bucket I talked about, you may need to have application rights management, because these applications may need to be either restricted from running in certain environments if you're layering them down to a server-based computing environment like XenApp, or you may need to raise the privileges for a user to be a local admin just for that application, not a full-blown local admin, but just an admin for that application. So you're keeping the desktop secure. And then access to user authored data. Obviously, that is the reason why a lot of people are using desktops to be productive, to be able to create things. And they're created with these applications, and given the paths and the best management practices to be able to access that data on the fly, ProfileUnity already has all that in place to be able to bring that. So those are the three key things. As we talk a little bit more, we can go more in depth on any of those areas.
Very interesting. So you mentioned ProfileUnity and FlexApp can be licensed separately. That's very interesting. So I'm not tied to ProfileUnity. I can use FlexApp app layering solutions with things like AppSense or maybe Citrix UPM. And if so, do I lose functionality? Is there stuff that I can't do because I'm using someone else's UEM solution?
So we don't want to really have to unseat anybody that's happy with their user environment management solution like AppSense or maybe their layering solution. We don't have to unseat that. If a customer comes to us or a prospect comes to us and they really need to solve one or the other, perhaps they need user environment management to go along with Unidesk, we can do just that. Or with AppSense, maybe they need application layering. And we are doing that. We have joint customers with those two vendors out in the market. We compete in some areas, that's true, but we run in tandem with them. So the main functionality you lose is that you don't have one central management console of using both FlexApp and user environment management together. So as a desktop administrator, you don't have the ease and the simplicity of managing these things as one. You have multiple consoles, and you also don't have any kind of criteria that helps you match one across the other. And by that, what we have is context-aware settings. When you basically provision an application with FlexApp, you assign it a context-aware setting. It could be something as simple as an Active Directory group. We let you browse those, or an Active Directory user, and give them or entitle them that application. But we have a lot of other criteria, over 300 different combinations of ways that you could parse this out. So an application could be delivered based on time of day only. It could be delivered based on an IP address range, and so on and so forth. So you could do that in our solution, but then if you want to manage or tweak any settings on the other end, say a registry setting for an application, or to tweak the application's profile, you would need to go over there and create something else to be able to discern exactly what that group is. So yes, you could do it, and we do have customers doing it today, but with one central console, and you've already created maybe a context-aware setting to deliver an app. So why not go over and manage the registry the same way, maybe to kind of fix an app up that get rid of run once dialog boxes and things like that. You already have all that in place, so it makes it easier than go into multiple solutions to do that.
So basically, what you're saying is UEM is really sort of the key to application delivery. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, we've spoken about application layering, but we help and assist with that 10th mile of application delivery for any way that an application is delivered. So the things I spoke about today, like application rights management, privilege elevation, application restrictions, we can do that with any type of application. It could be delivered by Unidesk. It could be delivered by SCCM. It could be locally installed using download and install native means, or through AppV, or even through a published application. So we can restrict any of that. So really, ProfileUnity is an ideal complement to application delivery as a whole, not just application layering. And in that regard, you can use all the other feature sets, as already discussed, the registry management, profile data, icon placement on the desktop, maybe to cache an application down from VMware ThinApp. All those things can be used. So UEM and layering, great together, but UEM and application delivery is a must-have.
I totally agree. When I think layering nowadays, I also think of Citrix AppDisk because it's brand new and it's by Citrix, right? So the customers get it free already because they have the technology as part of the what they already own. Can you talk a bit about how Liquidware works or adds value to AppDisk?
Yes, sir. So Citrix AppDisk, as you said, recently introduced by Citrix just a month or two ago, and we see it as good basic application layering. It's a good way to get started, to dip your toe in the water for a proof of concept or even a pilot. It's got some limitations, though. It can only assign applications to a machine level, so you can't get granular and go down to a user level. Also, services and drivers, those types of applications are not compatible with AppDisk. I've actually written a white paper just a week ago. It's available on our website. And let's make a note to put a link down at the bottom of this podcast, maybe to it.
Yeah, we definitely will. So, guys listening, just look at it. If you're not at a computer listening through your iPhone, well, head over to DABCC and you'll see it at the top of your screen or somewhere in the list of podcasts. And within the show notes will be this white paper.
Yeah, that link there. Well, what I was going to say is that also User Profile Manager from Citrix, it's a good solution for making a profile stick. But there's enterprise use cases where you need to go beyond the basic tools, as I would call them. And this white paper will outline where these basic solutions will be helpful to you as a Citrix customer already has access to them, and where you might want to think about going beyond, whether it's those more complex applications like services and drivers, or maybe it's about packaging and updating an application, how we make it a lot more straightforward and simple, easy to do. And there's a list of things in that white paper. I'd encourage you to look at it. And it was written and reviewed. It was written by us at Liquidware, but it was also reviewed by Citrix Product Management. So we tried to do the most fair evaluation of when customers should look to one and when they should use something more advanced.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. I'll have to check that out. Actually, I think I have. I know I have. What am I saying? I looked at that earlier last week, I think. It was quite impressive. Good work, Jason. Good work. So, what else I want to talk about? AppSense was recently acquired. That sort of shocked me. Came out of left field. I'd heard some rumors and things like that, but if you would have asked me a year ago if somebody would acquire AppSense and who, I could say, yeah, someone might buy them, of course. Who? I would have never thought Landesk. Well, what do you guys, how do you react to this? What do you think of that? Did it surprise you too? Things like that.
Well, AppSense has been an interesting story to watch over the years. As you know, I've been in the UEM market since 2000, if you want to call solutions like ScriptLogic UEM as well. And then I worked with RES in 2004 and 2006. So I've known and been marketing alongside and against AppSense for years. And I very much value a lot of the people over there, know CTOs over there on a first name basis, and we catch and chat and catch up at shows and things like that when we see them. So AppSense, it's very, very interesting to watch them, as they did at one time had publicly said that they had plans to go public, but the market changed and competition stepped up. and I'd like to think that was about the time that we got in full swing with Liquidware Labs in 2009 when we picked up ProfileUnity from the company I co-owned, and gave it a much bigger presence and added a lot of functionality to it and made this market a lot more competitive, especially in the States. If we look at the States, it's been Liquidware Labs and AppSense now for several years. And so the market, that changed the market a good bit. And I think their plans also changed, given some of the variables in the market had shifted. I think Landesk, and I've also monitored and been alongside that company for years in other ways. I think Landesk probably did a wise thing by adding something and breathing some life into what people may think may be older ways to manage PCs, with a lot of the Landesk arsenal that they've been known of for a long time. Their asset management software and things of that nature. They've been a stalwart in the industry for a long time, but not always seen as innovative. And the AppSense acquisition may give them that leg up in that regard. The future, though, we'll see where that goes. We're glad to see that it just validated again the whole user environment management segment in the market, and we've had a lot of fallout from that directly. Things that you wouldn't even think about. So relationships that AppSense had with big, huge vendors that for whatever reason also competed with Landesk, that's caused them to come back to us and say, look, I'm not so sure that AppSense is still the UEM solution for us. Let's learn more about ProfileUnity. And we're in talks with some of those vendors now. And we've also had some successful talks with even customers that want to look for other options out there and available, if they didn't want to continue doing business with Landesk. I wish them the best. I think they'll grow that segment, but we'll grow right along with it.
Interesting. I've also heard rumblings that Landesk acquired them for the security piece, not necessarily the UEM piece. What do you think about that?
That's interesting. AppSense has had application rights management as a standalone product for a long time. And I think it may have even superseded their UEM solution. So if you talk about privilege management and application restrictions, those are two key things it does. That's embedded functionality that we deliver with ProfileUnity today. And we've never sold it as a suite product. So it shows you the value you're getting with ProfileUnity. So again, I think that adds validation to the market segment. We can do a lot of those security things in our solutions. There's only a couple products on the market for UEM that run with admin privileges. They actually lay down policies as if they were the administrator. AppSense is one of those. ProfileUnity is the other one. If you look at the other ones in the market, you're hard pressed to find anybody else that lays down policies as if the administrator laid them down themselves.
Very interesting. And FS Logic's another one that does like visualization and layering in that fashion. And you guys have that just built in. Can you maybe add a little bit more value there too?
Yeah, I think so. We're a little different than FS Logic's. While they can layer down portions of the file system, I don't want to speak so much for their technology, but we actually package applications from A to Z and layer down applications. And if there's any brush of competitiveness we might have with them, is they can cloak applications where we can restrict them. And we've got technology that we're testing around cloaking today. If that market were to take off, we can add that functionality to our product. But today our customers are doing it with application restrictions, and you can even go so far as to hide the icon. So it's a similar technique to cloaking.
Interesting. When you do that, how does licensing work?
Well, the licensing, you're actually restricting users from using it. And there are many companies that are using that to help them sneak up on their licensing to know when they're delivering an application. So you can authenticate with ProfileUnity. I won't speak for other products in particular, but for ProfileUnity, you can restrict an application to only an AD group. And therefore, you can limit it to the number of users in that AD group. So you can sync that up. And we do have a few customers that are using that to restrict their licensing to make sure that they are in compliance with the numbers that they have got there. If you look at statements Microsoft may or may not have made in the past, they actually have never made a public statement that says that this is the way that you can actually enforce licensing. So we've seen some competitors out there that said Microsoft endorsed them, but if you press Microsoft on answers like that, they will not give those to you, saying that any third party can actually enforce or restrict the licenses, and it be okay with them. They say if you put a license on a machine, then you should be using it. But in real world, there's been cases where customers have proven this out, and Microsoft has backed off of them in that regard. But they've never put a public statement out that said that application restrictions were the way to go for any vendor. Because we followed up on that actually and tried to get them to do that, and they said we've never said it and we never will. And contrary to what any other vendors in the market have said.
Interesting. Yeah, licensing is the one thing I know very little about, and that's on purpose. So it's one of the most confusing and changing things there is, and Microsoft definitely has the most confusing and changing licensing.
It's true, and people look to them, of course, because they're the gorilla in the room.
Yeah, you got it. The bear, baby, the bear. Yeah, I like to tell this story about how Steve Jobs, if you guys, or not Steve Jobs, Steve Ballmer, talked about the bear, IBM, but I won't go into that today. Have I ever told you about the bear? Ride the bear, ride the bear, ride the bear. Have I ever told you that story?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good one. And here the people are like, well, tell us. Nah, just Google it. Steve Ballmer, Ride the Bear, IBM, Pirates of Silicon Valley. Google that, and you can see a video of him. I don't need to do it. He does it much better than I do. Ride the bear, baby. Ride the bear.
Yeah, it's worth a good watch over lunch.
It absolutely, definitely is. So synergy's coming up. Anything? Well, first of all, anything new coming with you guys? I mean, you just launched a major major updates at the beginning of the year, so it's not that long ago. But synergy's coming, and there's always neat stuff. People are announcing and showcasing and things like that. What can you tell us about what we can expect from Liquidware at good old Synergy?
Well, it's very interesting that we did do 2 product launches just a few months ago for Stratosphere and for ProfileUnity with FlexApp. So we added things that gave even more metrics into Stratosphere for login processes, and we've got some other updates that are coming immediately after Synergy. So we may pre-announce the details that I'm speaking of there. We're working on a late summer release for FlexApp. And I just had this debate with our CTO yesterday, and I hate to tease this, but there is such a wow factor coming out with FlexApp. No one else in the market has what we plan to introduce, and we know of some very big organizations that are wanting the type of functionality that we're going to release. We're going to hold off, and that's going to be a surprise in the summer on seeing that. We may do some NDA briefings at Synergy. So if you want to know more about what I'm implying and what I'm talking about, get with us. We'll have you sign an NDA, and we'll give you a roadmap briefing of what that contains. So we're not going to publicly announce that bit. We are going to have a limited run of 500 T-shirts, Doug, and the theme, because this is an election year, is you'll love this. It says across the back, "Make desktops great again." Liquidware Labs and Citrix.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love it. I want one. Will you save me one, please?
I'll have to hold you one back because we're only doing a run of about 500. So if you want them, make sure you come by our booth the first 2 days, because I can guarantee they'll be out. Gray.
Oh, cool.
Gray, and the writing's going to be, I think, our Liquidware Labs green and blue.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I don't like black T-shirts. I got into this with a friend of mine, and I don't like black T-shirts. I think of Metallica. Not that I have anything against Metallica, but I don't want a Metallica black shirt. I want a nice white T-shirt.
That's right. Well, I'm the one that chose the gray this year because I have similar feelings.
Yeah,
you can wear gray with anything.
Yeah, gray works. Exactly. And black you can't wear with anything.
No.
So, and it's hot too. As I sit here and record this in my my office in Sarasota, Florida, with no air conditioning for the past 48 hours. So as soon as we conclude this podcast, which I might have to speed up, I need to contact them and say, hey, when are you going to fix my AC? Damn it!
That's right.
Sweating to death here. I'm glad I don't have a black T-shirt. I wish I had my gray Liquidware T-shirt. I tell you that much.
We'll get you hooked up at Synergy.
That's great. That's great. I definitely look forward to seeing you guys, and I will for sure stop by your booth. So, well, Jason, that's we'll keep this one short and sweet today. But is there anything I left out? Anything else you want to chat about?
I just want to let people know how to get started today. So go to liquidwarelabs.com, and our downloads are really cool because you don't have to wait on a sales rep to contact you to get some special key. You can download and try today for anything we spoke about. So download, and you can have ProfileUnity with FlexApp installed and layer in AppSense in a couple hours, and trying it out in your POC for yourself. And if you want to test our user experience solution, Stratosphere, same thing, under an hour with it, because it's a virtual appliance, real easy to use, and the agent are so small for both products. They're easily rolled out to desktops. You can even cache them down with group policies and get the agent out there. So cool and easy to use and easy to try.
So I'm going to ask you a quick. I can do it. I have you on the line. So hang up on me. So, what does it take to install? Can you maybe walk us through the process of getting this up and running? I don't think I've asked you that question in a long time. So
yeah, let's focus on what we mainly talked about then. Is just ProfileUnity and FlexApp.
You bet.
The cool thing about this is that it runs on existing infrastructure. Every Windows organization could run it in a couple hours, because it only needs a few file shares for the data, and then we hook with the mechanism that Windows itself on a network calls us to run: Active Directory, group policies, things like that. So you install our central management console, ProfileUnity, ideally to a server in the data center, and that server does not have to be dedicated. It could even go offline after the fact, because really what it's going to do is the main thing it does is it writes a configuration that the agent on the desktop sees. So once that configuration has been written, basically that's our management console, application layering, profile portability, and you've outlined all that, what you want it to be. You save the configuration off into the live environment. Once you do that, the agent on the desktop will kick in and look to that agent at log on. It'll execute that, and the next time it does it, it'll log off. It can do things during the session with trigger points, maybe save the profile more frequently and things like that, or to see things that have changed, to map different printers. But by default, log on, log off, and it's going to save the profile to the user's home share, their H drive or whatever, if you will. It's going to have their profile out there. It's going to have their settings. It's going to have their user authored data out there, and redirects for that, just like best practices from Microsoft say it should be handled. And for FlexApp, applications that have been packaged with our packaging console, you roll that packaging console out to a non-persistent machine, ideally a virtual machine that can be reset from time to time. And you package applications that way. It's so simple to package an application with our packaging console. Even a regular desktop administrator can do it. And your application show up on a VHD or VMDK. With a VHD, it's even more flexible because you don't have to worry about the back end of setting up vCenter and everything. But we have all the provisions to be able to do that. But say with a VHD, you put those out there in a file share too, a central file share, and then FlexApp will just hook those. So at log on, the user gets their profile, their FlexApps, policies, and access to user author data. All that happens in seconds. And there's no dedicated servers to run in that environment, which is different than the other UEM players. And it's also different than the other layering players out in the market, because we do all this without adding SQL clusters that are mandatory in the environment, or dedicated servers for the management console, and some of them even have internet information servers to make their solutions run. And then you have to scale those. So with us, it's just replicated file shares.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That does seem very simple. If somebody wants to, if they do download it, you guys have videos on walk. Well, they don't have to see a video. I mean, that's just you explained it really simple.
Yeah, but we do. We do. There's a couple videos about getting started and installing. So I even recorded I think one of those myself. So just look at the videos tab of our website, and it'll walk you right through that. So if you have any questions along the way, you got that. And the support tab at Liquidware Labs has the full documentation if you want to go back to that.
Perfect. Some of the competition sort of badmouths application packaging, and in fact, packaging isn't necessarily something a lot of people love. You guys, you just said you do package the applications. Is that can you talk a little bit more about that process?
Sure. So the application packaging process is drop dead simple. So to get an application to be rolled out to a desktop, you got to package it sooner or later. There's some some people out there that are trying to share packages out there, maybe already shared on the internet and things like that, to pull them down. Some application virtualization solutions doing that. I think Turbo's doing some of that, and some of that's cool. But Turbo has a lot of limitations too, so they've got a package. So everybody's got a package or sequencing type of way. AppV has it, ThinApp has it, Unidesk, and everyone else that layers applications down have some sort of packaging mechanism you have to use. Is it tedious? Is it laborious? We've minimized it to the degree where it's so easy any desktop administrator can do it. So there's no need to employ some expert, and there's only 2 or 3 really true experts for packaging AppV in the industry. We all know and love them, but there's no need to have to do that with FlexApp. Easy to do. You can package an app as quick as the time it takes to actually just install it. It's just going to provision a VHD or VMDK for you, and then it's installing an app is basically what you're doing. And then you close it, and it's ready to go. It's ready to provision to users through our central management console. And I've talked about how easy we've made it, but you point out something that we even hear from our customers. They some of them have 500 apps or whatever. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and talk about all that stuff that's supposed to be NDA, and I'm not going to, but I can tell you that it will help solve all that.
Oh, very interesting. I can't wait to have you on and talk about that. When's that going to happen?
We'll
put it
do
on
that
the calendar.
Yeah, a little later in the summer. We'll get that maybe in July or August.
Hopefully, I have air conditioning by summer. Florida, air conditioning in Florida is a requirement. If I seem a little bit down today, it's because I'm sweating to death.
It's a year-round requirement.
It's a year-round. January is really lovely in Florida. I actually had to wear a coat. I was quite chilly. It's funny. A Floridian, you can see us all over the place because we were the guys buying, with a brand new coat because we left without one.
Yeah.
And then we realized, oh crap, it's cold here.
Right.
I've done it many times.
But all your blood vessels come to the surface when you move south, I think. So
it's totally true, totally true. And then the other problem is that when you go to find look for a coat, you can't ever find it because you bury it deep in a closet somewhere. I own a lot of coats and I have no clue where any of them are. Go figure. So I think that concludes the podcast. I'm digressing and talking about my clothing habits. So, Jason, is there anything we left out? Anything else you want to talk about before we go ahead and call this a show?
I just look forward to seeing people at Synergy. If they want to visit us, reach out at Liquidware Labs, sales or info at liquidwarelabs.com, and we'd be glad to meet with you even one-on-one.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. If no other reason, just to see Tyler and Jason. They're always a good time and extremely smart guys. And definitely check out Kevin Cook, too, the Stratosphere PM, who's a really brilliant guy and will talk all about Stratosphere and all the great things you can do with that solution. So we didn't touch on that today, but definitely something these guys really do and excel at. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we need to have Kevin back on sometime. So.
Yeah, we will. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have Kevin reach out to you because there's some exciting things around the login, around a new login solution that we've got. You don't even have to be a customer to use it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's all hosted. So look for that really soon, and let's arrange that podcast so Kevin can tell you all about that.
Well, let's definitely do that. So you guys are getting in the services world as a service, Liquidware Labs as a service.
No, we could go that direction eventually, but this doesn't put us there. This just gives you a very robust sampling of just what Stratosphere can do. So if you want to see your logon processes long, you can, in just a very short time period, check that out for pretty much no cost.
Cool. Very cool. Okay. On that note, let's just call this a show. So again, Jason, thank you so much for taking the time. Always fun to chat with you, in the podcast and then before. We always have a good time. You're a great guy, and I look forward to seeing you at Synergy. And everyone out there, definitely go check out what these guys are doing. So
thanks for having me on. Great work, Doug. And by that I mean your brand new website, DABCC. It looks great. Very streamlined, looks great, very fast.
Thank you so much. I'm in fact, we're almost done. I'm making a couple last minute changes. I was up quite late because I couldn't sleep due to the heat, and I have a few more changes, and I think I'll have the look and the feel down to just how I like it. And the goal was really simple there. It's fast, easy, beautiful, and so beautiful experience, extremely fast, so you can, and really powerful to where you can, in very short period of time, seconds, dive from tens of thousands of pieces of content down to exactly what you want. So if you want to compare Unidesk in Liquidware, of course, in AppSense, and I was trying to think of your competition names. I knew you guys, and compare them all. You can just check a few boxes, and boom, in a second you can see all the content related. Then check the app layering box, and boom, you down to 20 articles.
Nice.
It's really, really cool. It's like going to Amazon.com, except for it doesn't cost you anything.
Very nice.
It doesn't, you don't end up with this big bill of all this great stuff you wanted to buy. You just end up with a bunch more knowledge, right? And knowledge is power. Anyway, Jason, thanks again.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Okay, and let's call that an episode. As always, I want to thank my guest for today, Jason Smith. Just guest. We don't have guests. Just Jason with us today. Just Jason. Lowly little Jason. No, Jason is a great guy. And if you guys are attending Synergy, definitely stop by the Liquidware Labs booth. And you need to track down good old Jason Smith. And Tyler, too. T-Rex. Just go, T-Rex, where are you? I need to talk to you. So yeah, great technology, and I love having Jason on the show, and just a downright great guy. What else do I say? But on that note, guys, if you are attending Synergy, definitely look me up. I will be there all week. In fact, I land on Saturday, and I don't leave until Friday. So what can I say? It'll be a long week in good old Las Vegas. Check out the Liquidware Labs booth, but really, spend some time in the exhibit hall and go around and check everyone else out. One of the perks of my job is the ability to really get to learn about all these different technologies there are in the VMware, Citrix, Microsoft world. And I tell you, my favorite part about the shows, besides seeing old friends and meeting new ones, is the exhibit hall and walking around and checking all these crazy, awesome technologies. Some that are here today and gone tomorrow, some that are here today and around forever, and become the next big thing. So in my 10, 15 years of going to these shows, I've seen a lot of those type of technologies. And what do I say? That being said, definitely check out www.dabcc.com for the latest and greatest IT news. We cover everything from cloud to virtualization to mobility to security to storage to you name it, big data, Internet of Things. It's all up there, and the site is completely redesigned from the ground up. And I think I have it pretty stable now. I fought some headaches last week, but I think I got them all done, and life is good. So I hope you guys like it. The feedback has been phenomenal, and traffic is way up. And what can I say? It's a good thing. I think you guys will love it. So. On that note, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening to DABCC Radio. You what make us a success. If you like it, definitely tell a friend. And what else do I say except for thanks to each and every one of you guys for listening to DABCC Radio.
say DABCC?
DABC.
Say it again, DABCC.
DABC.
Can you say it again? DABCC.
DABC.
How about DABCC?
DABC.
DABCC.
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 DABCC.